what is happening over the last few years is the supply chains of organizations are getting extended. Us as consumers, we want everything delivered, at our homes, right? Whether it is products or services. It all started with e-commerce, but also increasingly every single service, whether it is, eye testing done at home or, blood samples being collected at home or even car wash or car maintenance is all happening at your doorstep. So practically the supply chains are getting extended, and which means that, you have to really design and operate a supply chain which takes into account the consumers and their requirements, which are extremely demanding requirements at this point in time, to be able to meet the consumer requirements. So last mile is becoming, that's why, very, very important part of supply chains of a lot of organizations, whether it's retailers or e-commerce companies, or for the matter, even FMCG companies and so on and so forth. So for retailers, as you can imagine, stores were always very important in terms of providing the wow experience for consumers, right? You walk into a luxury brand or a retail store, you want the consumers to get a great experience. Today, however, it's not just about the stores. I mean, you are delivering, parcels at consumers' doorstep. So whether it is apparels or whether it is groceries or whether it is consumer electronics or whether it is, big appliances or furnitures and, across multiple categories. So now you have to design the customer experience, not only inside your stores, but also, in the last mile of your organization, right? And there, the requirements are very, very different. It's also about meeting, customers' availability at certain times of the day, for example. It is customers saying, hey, drop this shipment with my neighbor, or it's about card on delivery, or it's basically trial on delivery, right? I mean, I want to have the perfect size, which matches, and then I should be able to return the other sizes which really don't match, my requirements. So there are multiple such requirements, and that's where the consumer experience, especially in the last mile, becomes increasingly important for retailers. We are a software company. We are born in digital era. So we are a digital native company which lives in cloud, offers all our product and services on cloud. But what we really help e-commerce brands, whether those are some of the largest e-commerce brands in India or Indonesia or in some of the other, emerging countries across the world, or whether it is retailers across multiple categories, we offer a platform which allows organizations to orchestrate this entire last mile, both from a supply chain efficiency perspective as well as a consumer experience perspective. So it is about things like allocating the right orders, to the right third-party logistics providers or your own captive fleets. It's about telling riders or the drivers saying, what should be your sequence of orders that you should be dropping, your orders at. It's about the communications which happens with the consumers and so on and so forth. So it's all about orchestrating the last mile supply chain, both from an operational efficiency perspective as well as the customer experience perspective. Last mile is not an easy problem to solve. The cost associated with last mile can be very, very high. The external factors, whether it is traffic, whether it is weather, they can completely, or whether it's rider availability or peak season demand, I mean, they can really make or break, your organizational's, profit and loss statement. So for retailers, it is very important that they become more and more data driven. There is tons of machine learning, and AI algorithm which goes into really understanding the consumer behavior as well as taking into account all these parameters which drives the optimization in the supply chain. So the top three things I would tell retailers is focus on data, focus on algorithms which are advanced, which allows you to optimize all the complexities in last mile. Second is you have to orchestrate across number of different stakeholders. So whether it's riders, consumers, your dark stores, your fulfillment managers. So you need a platform which allows you to orchestrate processes, tasks, and activities across, multiple such stakeholders. So you need that. And last but not the least is, the entire optimization, right? So data is one part, but you need to take the data and then drive the optimization in your supply chain. Your costs can become very, very high if you are not able to optimize your supply chain. So those are the top three things I would basically tell retailers, that as you design your experiences in an omnichannel environment, these are the three things that they should take into consideration.